What's up, guys? Jesse Wright with YouCouldBe.com, and in today's video, I'm going to walk you through my latest rehab. This is a rental property, and the ROI on this property is so good that it will pay for itself. I'll get all of my money back within 1 year and 9 months. So I'm going to walk you through the process that I went through when I was purchasing it. I'm going to walk you through the main things that we did during our rehab. I'm going to show you how much things cost. And if nothing else, hopefully it'll just show you what's possible. So stay tuned. All right, guys, so about a month and a half, maybe 2 months ago, I made a video and I talked about a property that I purchased, and it was from a guy that invested in tax sales. So he would go to these auctions, he would bid on, he would basically pay property taxes on properties that were delinquent on their property taxes. And then there's this 2-year-long process where he would have to wait, and hopefully the people that own the property before him would pay the taxes plus a fee, and he would make, a decent, 10 to 20% return, just depending on how much he bid on the original tax sale. I think I mentioned before that usually it's only about 3% of the time, at least in Mississippi, that when you go and you do this, you end up with property. And so the property that I purchased from him in that video was from one of those cases where he did actually end up with the property, and he didn't want to hold it. He just wanted to get more money so that he could go back to the tax sale that was about to occur within a week or two from the date that I purchased that house. Well, after I bought that house from him, he let me know that he had another one, and I wasn't really that interested. I don't like doing 2 rehabs at once, but I figured I would at least go take a look at it. And so I did, and I was shocked. The house was in great condition. I mean, it did need some work, don't get me wrong, but for the price that he was asking, it was in great condition. And I think he wanted $6,500 for the house, and I ended up paying him $5,500 from the house. And I also had a bunch of back taxes that I had to pay to make sure that I was able to keep it, because if those back taxes weren't paid, then I was actually going to just lose the property again to tax foreclosure. So anyway, I paid the back taxes, but before I did all that, I did do quite a bit of research. I drove through the area. It's one of those areas that a lot of people don't want to live in. It's also one of those areas that's not as bad as a lot of people think. But I did take that into account, and then I also went and I checked the rental listings in the area. So you guys know I'm a big fan of Rentometer, and so I pulled up the house on Rentometer, and I did a 3/4 mile radius to see what the median rent was going to be. And so in this area, they pulled 21 listings within the last 12 months. Average rent was $735. The median rent was $700. So when I'm deciding if I'm going to purchase something, I want to make sure that even if I only get the median rent, I'm still going to get my money back within 2.5 years. So in this case, if I were to charge $700 a month, let me move this over a little bit, $700 a month times 12 months, that gives me $8,400 to work with. The property taxes were $733 a month. And then I usually, I average about $500 a year in maintenance. That's what it normally costs me to maintain my property. So that's typically what I set aside for it, $500. And then my insurance on this property was going to be $442 a year. I'm going to say minus $442 and then minus that $500 for maintenance. That leaves me with $67.25 a year in profit if I'm just renting it out for the median rent. So then what I'm going to do to get my budget for the whole thing is I'm going to multiply that by 2.5 times, which in this case that comes out to $16,812. If I only get median rent, and all those other numbers line up, which they do, they average out. That's just what I get as far as maintenance and insurance. And I know that maintenance cost is low. That includes repairs, that includes, unexpected vacancies, things like that. And the reason it's so low is because I manage my own properties and I do my own repairs. So it is more of an active way of investing as opposed to a passive way of investing. But either way, those are the numbers. So anyway, I have $16,800 roughly to work with if I want a 40% return and I only want to charge the median rent. So now that I have my budget, the next thing I did was I just went to the property and I gave it a good looking over, looked for every single thing that I might need to do in order to get this property rehab for the price that I had set in my mind, which was $16,800. And the main things that I had to do, the largest things the most time-consuming or money-consuming things were the roof. The roof needed to be completely replaced. I also needed to completely redo the floors. They were wood floors, and they had 2 layers of stain on them. The top layer of stain just looked like brown paint. It was just super ugly. And so we decided to sand down all of those floors. The kitchen floor looked fine, and the bathroom floors were linoleum, and we decided to leave those. But the main area, all the bedrooms and the living room, it had these wood floors. So we sanded all those down and refinished it. And then obviously we needed to paint. Now the outside was pretty decent. It was all vinyl siding, and so we didn't have to paint that. But the 3 major expenses were roofing, refinishing the floors, and interior paint. So I totaled up all those costs as best that I could, and then there was obviously tons of little things. So I added in line items for plumbing, I added in line items for electrical problems. I came up with what I thought the worst case scenario was, and thankfully it was nowhere near as bad as I thought it could be, so I decided to dive in. Now, because this property was in a little bit rougher area than the first property I purchased, we decided to go ahead and rehab this property first. And what that meant was, the house was already livable. So we got the electricity cut on, we got the gas cut on, and me and my wife and my 3 kids moved into this house. We got, air mattresses and things like that, and we just moved right in and started working. So the first thing that we did is we got ourselves some appliances. We have a microwave that we just carry with us everywhere we go. So we had our microwave. We bought 2 used appliances. We bought a used stove and a used refrigerator, and both of these came from a used appliance store. They were $200 a piece plus tax and delivery. So we had $443 in a stove and a fridge. My wife, she started painting all of the interior stuff, and she actually painted this entire house herself. And as soon as she got done with the room, I would go ahead and start on the floor sanding. Now the floor sanding was rough because this floor, it looked like this. And so basically what I did is I had a drum sander, and I went over the whole thing probably 3 or 4 times with 36 grit sandpaper. And that was just to get all of the layers of stain and finish off of it and get it down to the wood. And it was actually some seriously hard work. The floor sanding cost us roughly about $700 for everything. That's sanding it all down. That's the tool rental, the sandpaper, and all of the finish that we used. And it would have been cheaper, but I was learning how to do it, and so it took longer. So anyway, basically, as far as the drum sander goes, I went over everything with 36 grit 3 or 4 times. Then I went over it with 60 grit, then 80 grit, and then 100 grit. And if I could do it again, I would probably go up to 120 or 140 grit. But basically, first you're cleaning it, then you're trying to get it as smooth as possible. Me and my wife, we went over all the edges with a belt sander. That's like one of those handheld belt sanders, and that took forever. Each wall took anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour. Towards the end, I decided that on the walls where the wood was running parallel to the wall, I just used a hand planer, and it was super fast. What would have taken me 45 minutes with the belt sander took me no more than 3 minutes with the hand planer. And the second thing I did was I converted my hand grinder into a sander. There's like a little sanding conversion kit that you can buy for around $20, and that's what I used to get really close to the edges. And then we also used an oscillating multi-max sander that's kind of like a little triangular sander that we use to get in all of the corners. Now, most people don't realize this about sanding floors, but normally you don't have to stain it. You can just put regular oil finish on top of it, and it's gonna look great. And it took us probably 10 days of work to get all of this done, plus refinishing it. All right, then as far as the roof goes, what I did was I posted in a couple different real estate investing groups asking around for the numbers of various roofing contractors in the area, and I found one that was willing to replace the roof and just give me a labor-only price. And he charged me $75 a square, which a square is 100 square feet, so 75 cents a square foot for the labor on the roof. And then I went to my local roofing supply, bought all the materials myself, and the roof came out to just a little bit less than $4,400. All right, so moving on, let's just go through these numbers really quick because I don't want to bore you guys. I just want to give you an idea of how much I spent on all of this stuff. So Home Depot, I spent $1,621. Walmart, $263. All of my paint stuff came from Walmart. So and there were purchases in there that did not have anything to do with painting. So it was less than $260 that I paid for paint. Roof, like I said, that was almost $4,400. Washer and fridge was $443. Had $116 at Lowe's. and then $651 at Amazon. Then I have some holding costs. Entergy, which would be my electric company, it was $73.71 for the electricity that we used while we were rehabbing the house. And Atmos, which was the gas company, it was $63.94, and that included a $45 cut-on fee. And then as far as closing, I didn't do a traditional closing. I filed the deed myself. It was $12. I did do a title search. That was important to me to make sure that there was nothing fishy going on with this title. So I paid $150 for the title. And all in all, my total rehab costs were $7,490. Total utilities was $137. My closing cost $162. My purchase price was $5,500, and then my back taxes was $2,538.06. And that brings my total cost for this property up to $15,828. So already we're $1,000 under budget. So what I ended up doing was I wanted to see how much can I get this property for. Now, I think Rentometer said that the maximum that anybody charged within 3/4 of a mile was $850. But I just wanted to see. I knew that Section 8 would allow me to charge more than that. So I actually listed the property for $995. And I left it up for about a week, and I got a few bites, but I didn't rent it out. And then I dropped it down to $950 for about 3 days. But normally when people are searching for properties, they don't say that their maximum budget is $950. They either say $900 or $1,000 or $800 or whatever it is. So after 3 days, I went and dropped it down to $895. And then almost right away, I got somebody that asked me if they could come look at it. And they seemed like pretty decent people. They had the money. And so I rented it out for $895 a month. All right, so let's just finish this video up by, totaling up what those numbers actually mean. So again, $895 a month times 12 months, that means I'm renting out the property for $10,740 a year. I have my $733 in property taxes, and I have my $442 in property insurance, and then I have my $500 in maintenance. And that comes out to $9,065 that I am earning every single year. So we got our $9,065, and I'm going to divide that by my total all-in cost on the property, which is $15,828.69, and that's going to give us our rate of return, which in this case is 57%. So what that means, again, is that I'm going to get my money back. All of the money that I put into this property, I'm going to get my money back within a year and 9 months. Now, I wasn't expecting that when I bought the property. I was just hoping for, 40%, maybe a little better than 40%, but it just turned out so much better than that. And one of the reasons that I am conservative when I am looking at whether or not I'm going to purchase these properties or not is because if everything goes right, then I'll be able to make a lot more. And if everything goes wrong, well, that's why I was being conservative. It's still going to go well. So anyway, I hope by me showing you guys what this whole process looked like, I'm hoping that that will empower you and give you a little bit of confidence to go out and try this for yourself. You can watch videos all day long. You can read books all day long, and you can tell yourself that you're going to wait until you know everything, but you're never going to know everything that there is to know about this business. The only way to get it done is to just go out and do it. If you found this video helpful, please like, comment, subscribe, share it with all your friends. Help me blow this channel up, guys. I would really appreciate it. I'll see you guys in the next video.